Hi, this is Greg with Lionquestfitness. I've got two stories to tell today. One about the time I got to shoot a 6-hour 365 when they first came out. And the other story has to do with why I'm talking about a Taurus G2C in a video where I'm talking about a 6-hour 365. So let's get to it. Back when the 6-hour 365 first came on the scene, you know, it was a cat's meow. Everybody was jumping on the bandwagon. Oh, it's got 12 rounds in a double stack magazine. You know, you know how it is with a new handgun when it comes out, especially a name brand like SIG. And there was a gentleman that I knew casual acquaintance. I'd run into him in gun shops and sometimes on the range. And he was one, and you know the type. He was one of these guys that when a new gun comes out, he had to have one. And he was at the range one day when I was, and he was shooting his brand new SIG 365. He was shooting at 10 yards. And he was getting extremely frustrated with it. He was like, I can't hit anything with this gun. I can't. And this is nothing against the SIG 365. You know, if you own one and that's the gun you like and that's the gun you have confidence in and that you carry, hey, more power to you. But this gentleman couldn't hit anything at 10 yards with that gun. He was shooting a silhouette type target. So he turned to me, and I was shooting next to him. He said, "Here, you try it. You tell me." So I took it, and I shot it a few times and, put it in the center. He looked at me. He looked at his gun. He packed it up. He left. And I've never run into him again. Now, I'm not that great of a shot. But anybody who practices regularly ought to be able to hit center mass with just about any firearm. And as far as the SIG, it wasn't a bad gun. I mean, it definitely something doable. Me personally, I didn't see how, I didn't like it all that much, or I didn't feel like I needed to go out and buy one my own self. So I've got another story about the SIG 365. But first, since we're talking about shooting at 10 yards, let's go ahead and take the G2C. And hey, how you like this nice Azula pancake holster? Man, this thing's really nice. Very good with this gun. But let's go to 10 yards and let's shoot a few rounds. And I'm going to make it a little bit difficult with multiple targets. And then we'll get back with the second story. I may need to shift those sights over just a tad. I don't know. That's okay for today. Well, I did okay. And the red was at 5 and 7 yards. And then the yellow was at 10 yards. And I think I need to adjust that sight and maybe move it over just a little bit. And if you notice, those water bottles, they were frozen, semi-frozen. And so I had a couple of them that were hard. One wouldn't fall. In fact, I put 4 holes in it. And anyway, this, I had to go one more time at 10 yards, and this time not shooting at the water bottle. And so I had a nice little group here, but once again, it needs to come over some. And the good thing about the G2C is that it's adjustable for windage and elevation, which the G3C is not. I think you can adjust windage, but I think you also have to drift the sight. I had a G3C, didn't really like it. The stippling was a bit more rough and really unnecessary because I can get a good grip on this. This tends to be just right. Plus, once again, I can adjust for windage and elevation. Also like the loaded ramp indicator. Now, some people think that's superfluous, but yeah, it's something I like. It's a little extra. And of course, it does have a safety. And you train to be able to disengage it if you have to draw it. A lot of people like the G2C. It was very popular seller for Taurus, G3C as well. Now they've gone to the GX series of guns, and but this one's still available. You can still find these. I figured they would go away a few years ago when the G3C came out, but then there's still a demand for the G2C, and I can understand why. This has been a very good gun for me. And so now let's tell the other half of the story about the SIG 365. I like revolvers, do a lot of revolver videos. And one I did not too long ago about 5-shot J-frame revolvers. And hey, how you like this nice Azula holster? This one is a cross-draw holster. And I had a gentleman who commented in the comment section about why would anybody carry a 5-shot J-frame when you could carry a SIG 365 that weighs virtually the same and has 12 rounds. Uh-oh. Do I detect a gun snob? So, I try to be nice to people as much as I can, but I decided to kind of dig at him a little bit. Because one of the things that when the SIG 365 came out, everybody was touting 12 rounds in a subcompact 9mm handgun. But see, the Taurus G series had been doing that for quite a few years before. This gun, had 12 rounds. And I replied back to him, I said, well, the Taurus G series had 12 rounds long before the SIG 365. Oh, I could hear the righteous indignation in his comment. I would never, ever, ever trust my life to a Taurus handgun. And, I don't know if I replied back or not, but I think I said, well, a lot of people do and are happy with Taurus. Now, Taurus gets a bad rap because every manufacturer has dogs. And I have had some higher end guns from some of the big name American companies that were dogs. And what hurts more buying a relatively inexpensive handgun and it have to be sent back or have problems, or spending a lot of money on an expensive handgun and having problems. But the bottom line is, a gun like this, and for the most part, a lot of people have liked these guns, but they're relatively inexpensive. I can buy 2 of these and ammunition, a good bit of ammunition to boot, as opposed to 1 Glock. Now, I love Glocks. I like them a lot. I shoot them real well. And this gun here is a Gen 3 Model 19, and I'll probably be handing it down to one of my grandkids. Now, will this gun last as long as this gun? Probably not. I'm sure the quality is much better. But with this gun, you still have a reliable handgun. You could buy 2 of them, as I said, plus ammunition to train with. You rotate them around. Don't always shoot or carry the same gun, and they last a lot longer if you do that. And it's a nice carry size. Of course, they make a lot of guns now. All manufacturers are in a nice. I don't want to get too small with 9mm, but this one's just about right. Good concealed carry gun, fairly easy to conceal. So, this is Greg, and once again, even though I love revolvers, and most times I carry a gun like this, other times I carry a gun like this, or if you want to buy American, hey, nothing wrong with Ruger. So this is Greg with Lionquest Fitness, reminding you, always be prepared for the unexpected.